They started sending like a bunch of rockets, like close, like I can see them, and it's noisy and it's loud and it's scary. And I remember, and I'm running with the plane in my arms.
I saw them go down over there at water, and also my mind is there, what is happening.
What's your name?
Alyssa Kleiner.
Where are you from?
From Philly, outside Philly.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Tel Aviv.
What are you doing here?
It's a long story.
All right, let's start with it. Sure. Let's ride back.
I moved to Israel 5 years ago.
Okay, why?
A lot of reasons. I really fell in love with the country. I did a Poland trip before I came to Israel for the first time, so I was really moved by the concentration camps and everything that happened in the Jewish history. And then I came on Birthright, and the rest is really history. I just love the country.
Did you know when you came here the first time that you're like, I'm going to make Aliyah, like I'm going to move here? Or was it something you went back and digested?
Someone said that they could really see me living in Israel, but it had no value because they had never been to Israel.
Okay.
Maybe.
Who is this person?
Just a guy from college who's not even Jewish, so I think it might have just
It's a good
a random comment. Yeah, I don't know. But then I moved here and I really just felt so at home, which is super weird because I'd never been in the country, didn't speak the language at all. But I just had so much fun, and it just felt like a safe place to me. So I did an internship following Birthright, so I was here for 3 months in the summer of 2017.
So wait, so you went on this Poland trip, then you came back to do Birthright.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you moved here. Then you made Aliyah full-time.
I did the Poland trip.
Yeah.
I came in summer of 2017 for Birthright and then an internship program. Came back summer of 2018, and then summer of 2019 I made Aliyah.
Okay, and did you draft right to the army?
I did Garin Sabah, so I had some time for Per Klita, like to adjust, learn a bit of Hebrew. It's a program for I was a lone soldier in the army, which means that my parents are not here. I don't have any family in Israel. So I did a program that helps lone soldiers like me move to Israel and get accustomed with the bureaucracy of everything, and have like a guide. So I meet other lone soldiers before I move here. We all move together in a kibbutz, and then I have help with adjusting to everything, learning Hebrew, and then I drafted to the army after that.
And the kibbutz that you went to when you first got here was where? North, south, central?
South, Kibbutz Erez. It's right on the border of Gaza.
Okay.
I could actually see Gaza from the hill in the kibbutz.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that like? You know, you hear all these stories about Gaza, now you're living in Israel, and...
To be honest, I cried when they told us our kibbutz. I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like, I had no idea really what that meant. It was just like, Gaza, it's scary. But when we got there, it's one of the most beautiful kibbutzim. Like, it's so peaceful, and you wouldn't even realize that, like, just a whole area of terror going on next to you. There was always that one, like, you didn't realize how close it was until things happened. Like, when we had moved there, it was November. There was some sort of operation that went on. I don't remember the name. And they evacuated us from the kibbutz. And when we were leaving the kibbutz, there's a stretch where you're actually, I don't remember the word in English, chasuf, like you're open, exposed. They see you, exposed, thank you. You're totally exposed. And I remember, like, they turned the lights off in the bus. I had my madricha next to me. She's literally praying, like doing prayers as we're driving in silence. Everyone's so scared because we're driving, and there's a chance they might just shoot an anti-tank missile at you. Because this was like a height of tension, you know, like it wasn't just a normal day. But that was scary. Like, we were all being pulled out of our kibbutz, so we didn't know if it was going to lead to something greater. And then if it leads to something greater, you don't want to be stuck there. When you're isolated, like you don't have the options. You want to get out before. But other than that, like, I felt so safe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what year did you draft to the army?
I drafted in December 2019. I drafted for the first 2.5 months to Mikve, which is a base where I learned Hebrew.
Okay.
So essentially that was my job in the army, just studying Hebrew. I go, there's classes just intense Hebrew studies.
And that's because you're part of this lone soldier program. You need to get accustomed to the communication.
Not necessarily. There were some lone soldiers that already spoke Hebrew. They have Israeli parents. They were exposed. They had enough Hebrew that they could draft straight to the army, like in their actual job. I knew nothing when I came to Israel for the first time. Like, I barely spoke anything. So I needed that extra time to get accustomed and to learn enough where I could go into my job and make friends and communicate.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, like, so you draft. What are you drafting into? What's your
after
unit?
my Hebrew?
Yeah, after Hebrew. Like, you go through basic training, and like, where do you draft into? Like, what's your specialty?
So when I drafted into the actual army, I was drafted into Totchanim, the artillery corps. From there, I really wanted to do the most difficult position that I could. So I decided to go to the tryout for the Special Forces. And it was there I did the tryout, and I passed. I got, in my opinion, one of the most difficult Special Forces in the artillery corps there.
Which is called
it's called Rochev Shemayim. It's a Skyrider Unit, so it's a unit of drones. So from there, I started my basic training with Rochev. It's a year course, a year of training. The first 4 months basic training, another 4 months of advanced training, and another 4 months of further. It's like you do also in it commander's course, but it's just another 4 months where we learn to work as a team. We advance our flying, and yeah, exactly. Like just really learning the drone and working as a team together and understand like how to taking the flying and moving it into like mission flying and like being effective at our main goal is getting up in the air within 15 minutes. Doesn't matter where you are. You could be in the shower. If you're in the shower, you get the call. You have to be dressed with your team, drone in the air within 15 minutes.
What was that experience like? So now, like, you come through the Hebrew course, you start your basic training, you succeed in what you wanted to do in this challenge that you put yourself before. What did you feel that you're now all of a sudden, in this unit that specializes in drones in the IDF, and a short few years ago, you came here on a birthright trip, or you went to visit Poland. Like, what was the feeling like?
Mostly pride. I totally didn't envision my life like this. I studied education before I moved here. The plan was to be like a kindergarten teacher. Didn't work out like that. It was really pride because when I moved here, I knew that I would draft because in my opinion, that is the most efficient way to become a part of the culture here. And I knew that I wanted to take a part in defending this country. Like, I wanted to come here and I wanted to be able to tell Israelis, like, no, I also did this. Like, I also took hand in protecting you. Like, we're in this together. I didn't just come here, like, off birthright, like one of those American girls, And I wanted to take a part of the history. So when I did this whole course and training and everything, like, it was mostly pride that I did it. I did what I wanted to do. I achieved my goal. But it was a really crazy experience.
Was there ever a time that you said, what am I doing?
Almost like all the time. It's like, wow, I can't believe I'm here right now. Like, I remember to get through like really hard moments when we were out in the field and just another like waking us up in the middle of the night to tell us to go run somewhere or do something. It was really intense physically. I remember I would look up to the stars and I'd be like, I would use that as my guide, like as in a way that like everyone's looking up at the same sky and like I'm here just like this little person in this little world, but like I'm doing my part and I'm trying to like get through it and I'll get through it, and like my family's on the other side of the world and like I could have had a whole other path, but I'm here and like it's not as big of a deal as I think it is. Like I try to like make myself smaller and make it easier to get through that.
Situation.
Yeah.
So bring it down to reality.
Yeah.
Even though in reality it's quite insane.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you serve your active duty from 2019 or the end of 2019 until when?
the end of 2021. I finished my training. I had 8 months in my actual active service. I was put on the base of Nachalos, also based on the border of Gaza, so right in my area of home because I was still living at Erez, Kibbutz Erez at this point. I wasn't always in the south, but that was like my main point, the base of Nachalos. It was really like home. There's also there's a mural like in Nachalos of like this Nachalos is home.
Okay.
So that was my home for 8 months.
And what was your main mission or duties while you were active during those 8 months?
Wochash has a few purposes: intelligence, protecting forces on the ground.
Forces that are inside of Gaza?
No, so this specific mission wasn't for Gaza. Now in the war, it's more relevant. But we would go up and we would do intelligence mostly in Gaza.
What was your primary, targets? What were you looking for?
It's just collecting information mostly, seeing maybe if things had changed on the mission. There's also, the IDF is quite moral, and so if they wanted to go up and if there was a need to destroy something, a building, like we had the eyes, so we were able to say, okay, the building's clear, there's no one in it, you can do it. And then we would be in the air, and then they would do what they needed to do, and then we would say, okay, you hit or you didn't.
And some of the reasons, or let me take that back. Is it fair to say, and because you're in 2021 now, there has been active terrorist activity in Gaza. Somebody who knows there's been active terrorist activity in Gaza for a long time, long before this war, of October 7th and onwards.
Well, we've always known Hamas is a terrorist organization. So to say that they've been there and they've been leading the Palestinian people in Gaza, then yeah, they've been there for a while.
Have you ever been shocked by some of the things you've learned or discovered?
I don't know what I expected. To be shocked is to have like specific expectations and to see something that's not what you expect.
Well answered.
But I don't know what expectations I had when I came into the job, and I don't remember necessarily being overtly surprised.
Did you, and we're going to move forward, but did you, prior to all this, have like a taste for military or for combat, for war? Like when you were growing up, like did you watch these movies and, get excited, or was this like your life just led you here?
I grew up with two brothers. So you're going to say my childhood was a bit combat. Yeah, I've been shot with BB guns, but it doesn't mean that I dreamed of becoming a combat soldier. I didn't dream of war and blood and this, and I still don't. Just because I'm a combat soldier doesn't mean that I'm going out and searching for blood. Yeah, like to be a combat soldier just means that I'm willing to give my life for someone else. Like that's what combat soldiers do. Like we're here to stop it. We're not there to provoke. That's what the IDF is. Defense forces. We're not starting anything. All of the wars in Israel, we didn't start them, October 7th, didn't start it. Got to protect ourselves. There's nothing we can do. So
you're 2021, 2024 is happening, or 2023 is because you're October 7th. What were you doing in those 2 years?
Between
2021 and 2023.
So I finished my service in 2021, and I wasn't really ready to give it up in the sense of I wanted to kind of explore and discover more of the drone field. I had this opportunity. It kind of came at me from left field. I'm going to run with it, see where it takes me. So I started work as a drone operator as a citizen, not in the army,
for a private
company in Israel. Yes.
And what's your main functions in that role? What is, like, most people never encounter somebody who operates drones, especially not for a civilian in a private company. What does that mean?
So, they're manufacturing drones. Someone's got to test them, fly them, use them. So it's essentially like figuring out the drone, making sure it works, things like that.
And October 6th, what were you up to?
October 6th, I celebrated my boyfriend's birthday. We went out with his family. We had really just a perfect day. He took me on a tour where he grew up. We sat at this, I don't even know what it was, like this statue thing, but we like climbed up and you look over like this highway and it was pretty empty because it was at night. So we felt like super small, you know, like one of those legs dangling. It felt quiet, yeah.
Little
like a different world, you know. And then we went to sleep and then we woke up to a different world.
So tell me, October 7th is unfolding. So, like, walk me through your October 7th.
Okay.
And where you are today, what we are present day is July, I don't know, what are we, July 8th?
July 8th.
Yeah, so bring me from your October 7th to July 8th, and I may interject in between.
Okay. October 7th, I woke up. I woke up from a panic. Like, something in me knew something is wrong. I don't know what, I couldn't tell you what it is. I woke up like, what's happening? I check my phone. I see like Tseba Adom, the red alert, just like going like this. And it's just like all on my phone. And I was like, what the hell? What's going on? Obviously start panicking more. I'm used to the Tseba Adom. I lived on Erez, like we got it. I'm one of the people that I was so used to it that I'm like, do I need to run to the shelter? Like, let me detach myself so much that I'm going to calmly like go. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I always ran, but I try to like detach myself so you don't feel panic. But that was panic. Like, I panicked going on my phone. Like, something was seriously wrong. So I started getting a better understanding of like what this is. You know, during that day, like the news, they can't publicize everything that they hear. They have to make sure that it's fact checked, you know? But Telegram, things are running there. My friend like sent me just videos and pictures of horrific things. Like, I didn't even realize what was happening at Nova yet, but I got pictures and videos of a whole Golani base slaughtered. Like, the real thing. Didn't get the warning like, hey, Alyssa, bloody. Like, I opened that, just slaughtered. No, these are kids. Like, they're not in their uniforms. They're in bed. Like, just boxers, just really awful. A whole base slaughtered. Now, like, this is like how everyone's trying to process, like, what's going on? Like, how is this happening? How is it possible that this is happening right now? I don't understand. Just like a disconnect. Like, the reality of what I'm seeing on my phone and like the understanding, like, but is this actually real? Like, this can't be happening right now. This is a joke. Fast forward a little bit, I see the video of Naama Levy in GAZA getting pulled from the Jeep in her hair. And I didn't know whether to throw up or like pass out. Like, this has to be like, there's no words. I have no words to express like the panic and the fear and the horror looking at those videos. It was just horrible.
No, this is all
horrible.
October 7th.
All October 7th. I have friends in the area. My host family is still in areas. Like, there's panic of like, who do I talk to? Is everyone okay? Like, how do I get in touch with them? So I'm reaching out to people, trying to make sure that the people, my loved ones, are safe. I don't know what's going on.
And where were you at the time?
I was in Kfar Yona. I was with my boyfriend at his family's apartment. I expected to get called first. Like, I thought, okay, Rochash, like drones, they need me first. Like, I'm used to like the surprises, like, you're going. He got called first. My boyfriend got called first. So he's packing on his bag. I'm sitting on the bed like, what is happening? Like, this is war. Like, this is war. We're going to war. That's terrifying. It doesn't matter how much training I've gone through and how much I'm essentially ready to go to war. War itself, scary. No one wants war. No one wants it. Terrifying. So I'm horrified. I don't even know what to think. You lose control. Every single person in Israel had no control over that day. Just fate was taken from us, you know. So I was there and he left.
Right away.
Yeah, after a few hours. In the afternoon, he left.
And when did you get the call that you were needed?
I got the call 2 days later. think.
So October 9th. And where did you
You know,
where did you deploy to?
So what was going on was that there was chaos in the country. You know, so the Army is calling its reserve duty, like all the reserve duty soldiers, and trying to get it back on its feet, you know, because we didn't expect this. We weren't ready. So I got called 2 days later. I was ready, but we had to wait for the Army to catch up, to get the resources, get ready, be ready for us to come, you know, because it doesn't help that we're going to go and then we're going to sit there and they're not going to have food, they're not going to have uniforms, like anything. I waited for 2 days, and then also there was like chaos in the south, so they also had to make sure that the area was like under control before they started sending people in. So a few days after that,
You were sent to the south?
To the south, yeah.
And at that point, it was a sterile environment? Or it was still being cleared?
It was still being cleared. It was mostly, there were definitely alerts, like, we haven't gotten all the terrorists yet. Like, you have to be on alert.
What was the feeling that you had when you finally get the call? It's October 9th, 10th, and you're on your way to the south. Because now, you know, okay, it's kind of, you digested a little bit. You've processed, okay, we're going to war. Now you're en route. Did, like, the badass in you kick in where you're like, let's go do what we have to do? Were you scared? Well, what did you feel?
You know, so my missions are different than others. I wasn't necessarily, like, my first thought was, like, I'm not going to go into Gaza right now and just, like, gun down terrorists. Like, I knew that wasn't my specific mission. Would
you, if you were asked to do that?
If I was asked to go into Gaza, I would go into Gaza. Without a second thought.
Continue what you're saying.
When you go into that area, you are on full adrenaline. Like, you become almost a different person, you know? Like, I'm on super alert, like my heart's pounding. There's still rockets being launched, so you have to roll down the windows and turn the radio off so that way you hear the sound, because sometimes it's delayed on the radio or your phone. You can also see them like go over you. I didn't go super south, so I didn't feel like I hadn't yet gone towards the area of the Nova festival. I didn't make it that south yet, but yeah, you're on high alert. Because you don't know where they are. You don't know where your enemy is. They've come in, you know, like they could be hiding. They found a few terrorists hiding in Beersheba, like after like a week or so. You don't know where they are, and you're in like life-saving mode. You know what I mean?
What were you told that, you know, you would be doing? What can you expect? What information was communicated to you that you can share, obviously, that you would be up against?
Well, at the end of the day, what I do with the drone doesn't change, you know, from what I did in the Army. Like, I do the same thing. But right now, like, you don't have to remember, like, oh, I'm tired in the middle of the night. Like, I would rather be sleeping. Now the reason is here. Like, I've seen what they've done in October 7th. I've seen what they did to my friend. My friend died where Nachalos was home. She died right in an area where we had passed and sat so many times. Like, they killed my friend. They killed so many of us. Our brothers, sisters, children, parents. Like, that is the ultimate reason. I don't need to think again about why I'm tired. I don't care that I'm tired. I don't care anything about myself. Like, at the end of the day, like, you see the reason right in front of you.
So now you're spending days and nights in the south, operating with your unit, with your team. Your mission is clear. What is it that you felt from the day that you got there until today, or throughout the time that you spent down south while you were working?
I think everything has changed. Like, I genuinely think that October 7th was essentially like a rebirthing for everyone. Like, you have to figure out who you are now. Like, there's pre-October 7th and there's post-October 7th, because what we thought we knew October 6th is completely different than what we know now. Completely. in terms of the whole world. Like, we're here screaming our trauma and what happened to us as an Israeli people, and people are not believing us. How do you not believe us? It's recorded. The people who did this recorded it and publicized it. Like, I don't understand how you could be so deep in your prejudice against Israel and what you think that you know, that you are turning a blind eye against rape and murder, and you're actually justifying it. Like, the people that are pro-Hamas, they're twisting all of the words of Hamas and making them into something that they're, like, I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand that's possible.
As an American, and as somebody who has experience in the Western world, how does it make you feel to see what's happening on college campuses, and across the West in Europe?
It's so frustrating. It's frustrating. I don't know whether to be angry, to cry. Like, it's so sad. It's just so sad that that's where we've become as Americans. That, like, people are running to the streets and protesting against something that they don't even know. Like, look at the videos. Interviewers go in and ask them questions they have no idea how to answer. They don't know what they're supporting. And they're so hateful that they're not even willing to have a conversation about it. That's what's sad. Like, I don't mind people having different opinions, obviously. That's just who we are as people. We're meant to disagree. But at least be open to hearing about the other side and facts. Be open to facts, because they shut down as soon as you start showing them facts. Mm. And since when has murder and rape ever been okay, no matter what side you're on?
Do you believe that in order to get out of this chaos, that we have to experience some sort of civil war in the United States?
I don't like saying that we have to experience war, because war is something that I never want to experience again. Like, we haven't even finished this one, yeah? War is awful. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. I hope that there won't be a civil war. I don't think that there needs to be. I don't think there needs to be violence and bloodshed in order to come to an agreement.
So if it's not that, even though we're in such a radical time, what do you think the solution is?
I don't know if there is a solution.
So we're supposed to, as Jews, continue to live?
No.
The way
No, we're supposed to speak out and be proud. Always. Always. I don't necessarily think that has to lead to war.
But it's
being a proud Jew.
The louder we are, the more we provoke in the masses. The more we provoke in the masses, the more aggressive, angry, and loud they become.
But we haven't been aggressively loud. If you've noticed the difference between the pro-Israel and the pro-Hamas protests, the pro-Israel ones, yeah, we're loud, but we're not in anyone's faces. We dance, we celebrate, we love. That's what angers the other side, because they're so angry. They destroy, they're destructive.
But for how much longer are we supposed to go out and protest and be loud? We just want to live our lives. So what is the solution?
I think living your life as a proud Jew is protesting, because that's what they don't want. But I do think that there has to be a change. I don't think war needs to be the solution to that change, but I do think there needs to be a change. I think they need to be more strict with the laws in America. Like, there's a difference between expressing your opinion and then destroying things in order to express that opinion.
Let's go back to your time working in the military. Is there an experience that you had that you were able to say, oh shit, this is real?
I was part of a few operations. The Guardian of the Walls was one of the biggest ones. I was in the field close range to Gaza. Like, we had to, stay low. Like, they could see us. We were in full gear, helmets, everything. I think that was one of the most intense experiences, in the sense of, most lone soldiers, when they draft to the army, they have it in their head that, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be a combat soldier, I'm going to go to war, I'm going to save my people. I did that, but then I actually did get to save my people, It wasn't like I did the training, I I did some missions. Like, I was in Guardian of the Walls, which is one of the biggest operations, like...
That was in the year 2021?
Yeah, in May. And I was there, and that, to me, felt like war already. I didn't realize what would happen, where I would actually be in another 2 years. But that was, like, when I was with my team, running... the plane lands, someone has to go get the plane. I went with my friend, and we went in, went like a few hundred meters away to go grab the plane, and they started sending like a bunch of rockets, like close, like I can see them, and it's noisy and it's loud and it's scary. And I remember, and I'm running with the plane in my arms with her. In my mind, I'm like, I used to think that these crazy noises were fireworks on the 4th of July. Like, that's what I thought of. I thought of my American side of celebration, fireworks, and this, and now I'm like, this is just not that. Like, my world has completely flipped. Like, I just became such a different person than who I was.
And it becomes white noise after a while, I can imagine.
I don't know, like white noise, but now it sticks with you in a different way since October 7th. Like, that is noise that is scary. I used to be able to push it aside from kibbutz areas, when I lived on the kibbutz, and, they weren't ever shooting at kibbutz areas, they were aiming for further places, and felt a sense of security regardless. It's not secure at all. Like, if you bring someone from a different country who's not used to that into Israel and they hear these rockets, that's terrifying. But I was able to, you get used to it. Yeah. You get used to what's not okay.
Which is crazy. I had that moment. I was down south, and I was with these farmers, and I found a rocket, like a shell, and I brought it to the front of the farm. And I said to the farmer, I said, "Can I take this home?" And she was like, "For sure, it's normal." And it was like in that moment when she used the word normal, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy. It's normal. It's normal to have a rocket sent to your farm, to your livelihood, to like to your backyard." That's the problem. We as Israel, or the people of Israel, have allowed this to become normal.
And that's such an issue. Why have we had to adjust our standards of living to be normal, that we're getting shot with rockets? And other people are just able to live their lives. Like, why is that normal for us? Why do we need to adjust to that, And at first the line was, okay, you're shooting at, like, just the surrounding areas, Sderot, it's the kibbutzim next to Gaza. Okay, we can deal with that. Then the line got pushed. Okay, Ashkelon, that's normal. Normal, okay, a few rockets, it's Ashkelon. We don't care. But when the rockets get to Tel Aviv, suddenly everyone freaks out. But why is it when it gets to Tel Aviv? Yeah. Why does it have to get so far? Why? The line should have always been, a rocket leaves Gaza, there's a problem.
100%.
No one in Israel should have ever had to adjust their standard of living to include rockets. No one in this world has to.
I don't think there's a tax. We pay a lot of taxes in this country. In America, there's no tax. You don't get a tax credit for accepting rockets. No. Let me ask you. Let's go back a little bit. You mentioned something about morality. The IDF is a very moral army. Obviously, you have, no pun intended, a bird's eye view into what Israel does before it actually goes in and attacks a place or takes down a building. What are some of the experiences you've had when it comes to actually feeling the morality of the IDF?
So something that was super, super special after October 7th, just in general, was how quickly the Israeli people came together. I've never seen something like that in my entire life. Like, people on the streets, like citizens wanting to make sure that they felt that the soldiers were getting the love, because we're on our way to go protect our country. Like, so many donations, like unending amounts of donations. People are crowding the streets. I don't know if you saw the video. There's a video of like tanks rolling down on the street and like citizens throwing like stuff to them. That's just the love in general of the Israeli people. That doesn't stop when we are in the army. Like, at the end of the day, most people in Israel go through the army. Like, that love doesn't stop for those few years. They feel the love. We are loving people. I do have an experience that I specifically remember. I was on the plane. I was flying the drone, and we recognized like a building, okay, and they wanted to destroy it, and me being the eyes in the sky, I noticed that there was someone there, and I was like, there's someone there, there's people walking by, and they stopped it. I was the eyes, and I reported that, and they canceled it. Like, there is morality. People are so quick to just assume the worst. There's so much morality. Sometimes it's frustrating. It's like we're in war.
Why are you looking out for...
Why am I looking out for people that celebrated and kissed the ground when they dragged my people's bodies in the street of their home?
So
this war would end tomorrow if Hamas brought the hostages home. It would end tomorrow. There would be no bloodshed. None. It's in the hands of the Gazans. They know where they are. There's hostages like held within the families. We saw with Noah Argamani and the other 3 men that were brought back. They were in the homes of civilians, a journalist, a doctor. Families know where they are. There's no way that they can't.
How does it make
Why
you
did no one
feel?
report that? You know, they have the ability to take their fate in their own hands. They did something about it. If the millions of people there did something about it and brought us our hostages home, there wouldn't be a war. There would be no more suffering.
What does it make you feel? Or what do you have to say to people who say Israel is the most immoral army, committing genocide, that there's an occupation? What does that make you feel, knowing firsthand that, in fact, contrary to public opinion, there's a ton of morality? In fact, we pay the ultimate price in many situations because of that morality.
The people that are saying that Israel is committing genocide and occupation are those who have not looked into the facts. I can't argue with someone who doesn't look at the facts. The Arab population has gone up. I can't give you numbers. I don't want to give numbers. The Arab population has increased. What a genocide is there in that? The Palestinian people, their population is increasing. There's no genocide. Our family, it's the people that we know, our friends, our family, they're dying. We're risking our own lives. And a lot of that is because we're going in and doing it on foot, and going in and moving Gazans here and there and making sure they're safe. If we didn't want to protect the Gazans, we would do everything from the sky. You know? We have the ability. We've seen the ability of the Air Force. We wouldn't have gone in so early. I wish they would put more love in front of their hate and be open to hearing the facts and open to hearing the other side, because what they think they know isn't the truth necessarily. And they should be open to hearing from people who are here living. I'm here. I'm living this. Hear me when I speak. Don't be blind to the ones who are shoving info sheets in your hand and telling you to go scream pro-Hamas in the streets in your university. Come sit and hear the people of Israel, because we lived this.
What's your message to Jews in the diaspora who, in their own way, are fighting their own war, going to campus?
It is for sure a war.
Going to synagogues and feeling scared.
Stay strong and never be shamed to be a Jew. I think that being proud and wearing it openly, being smart and safe, but don't hide who you are. And at the end of the day, Israel's a home to everyone. And this is why Israel exists, because of what happened in the Holocaust.
Do you believe that all Jews should come to Israel?
I think Israel is the only safe place in the world for Jews. Yes. I don't think that they need to run here, but I do think that history repeats itself. It's currently repeating itself, and we should learn from history. And Israel didn't exist back then. It exists now, and I think people should be aware of that.
What is, outside of the army and the war and, of course, bringing our hostages home and dismantling Hamas, what is Alyssa, what is your dream and vision, over the course of the next 5-10 years?
I've always known that I can't plan too far ahead. I planned to be a kindergarten teacher, and then that changed to the army suddenly, and then that changed to being a drone operator. I think what I've learned from is to expect the unexpected and being open to seeing opportunities. But what I know for certain that I will continue to surround myself by the people that I love, and I will continue doing the things that I love, because from what we learned October 7th, nothing is guaranteed. And I think that's the most important. It's really to just love life, because there was a point after that when it got really low, and you give up faith in humanity and faith in just people in general and in the world, and like, how is it possible that just something so horrific could happen like this? But slowly you come out of that and you learn to just really love life and really embrace and appreciate every second that you get with the people that you love and friends, and just embracing everything of life, because it's just not guaranteed ever.
And do you feel that Israel's the place that you're staying? You're not going anywhere else?
For now, Israel's my future, but you never know. Maybe I'll see other countries.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,